it's a little run down, but it's right up in the mountains.
Are you sure it's deserted?
Oh, yeah. I think so.
Welcome to Camp Rotten. We've got lakes for skinny dipping, Necronomicons for candlelit reading, and your esteemed camp counselors, a finer breed of spurned psychos, unstable writers, and sarcastic undead you'll never meet. That's right, Wastoid. They're all here and more in our list of the best 1980s horror movies. After the 1970s blew the doors open on horror for mass appeal, and new Hollywood directors became, well, Hollywood, the industry started cranking the movies out by the bloody bucket load. During this hallowed decade of spandex and spun-down ballet, slashers hit critical bloat as guffaws mixed in with the guts. Horror directors who made their name in the 70s, like John Carpenter and Tobe Hooper, put up valiant fights with The Thing and Poltergeist. And when in doubt, Hollywood just twirled the Rolodex to that subtle off-white card with Stephen King's number on It.
What?
Tom, get over here. We got a live one.
You're gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right.
Please. Kill me.
For this list, we've included titles with at least 10 reviews, and according to their score, an average review are ranked by Adjusted Tomato Meter. All right, you sportos, motorheads, geeks, zeeks, bloods, dweebies, and headbangers. See who's really bad as we count down our list of the best 1980s horror movies. Number 10, The Return of the Living Dead. When Foreman Frank shows new employee Freddy a secret military experiment in a supply warehouse, the two klutzes accidentally release a gas that reanimates corpses into flesh-eating zombies. As the epidemic spreads throughout Louisville, Kentucky, and the creatures satisfy their hunger in gory and outlandish ways, Frank and Freddy fight to survive with the help of their boss and a mysterious mortician. Starring Clu Gulager, James Karen, Don Calfa, and directed by Dan O'Bannon. Critics say a punk take on the zombie genre, The Return of the Living Dead injects a healthy dose of 80s silliness to the flesh-consuming.
Through that door! Watch your fucking stuff!
Number 9, The Dead Zone. When Johnny Smith awakens from a coma caused by a car accident, he finds that years have passed, and he now has psychic abilities. Heartbroken that his girlfriend has moved on with her life, Johnny also must contend with his unsettling powers, which allow him to see a person's future with a mere touch. After shaking the hand of aspiring politician Greg Stilson, Johnny sees the danger presented by the candidate's rise and resolves to kill him. Starring Christopher Walken, Brooke Adams, Tom Skerritt, and directed by David Cronenberg. Critics say The Dead Zone combines taut direction from David Cronenberg and a rich performance from Christopher Walken to create one of the strongest Stephen King adaptations.
You've made this campaign the most talked about, the most exciting, the most important campaign in the history of this great state. And I've come here personally to thank you for that.
Number 8, Little Shop of Horrors. meek flower shop assistant, Seymour, pines for coworker Audrey. During a total eclipse, he discovers an unusual plant he names Audrey 2, which feeds only on human flesh and blood. The growing plant attracts a great deal of business for the previously struggling store. After Seymour feeds Audrey's boyfriend, Oren, to the plant after Oren's accidental death, he must come up with more bodies for the increasingly bloodthirsty plant. Starring Rick Moranis, Ellen Green, Steve Martin, and directed by Frank Oz. Critics say remixing Roger Corman's B-movie by way of the off-Broadway musical, Little Shop of Horrors offers camp, horror, and catchy tunes in equal measure, plus some inspired cameos by the likes of Steve Martin and Bill Murray.
Damn thorns.
Number 7, The Shining. Jack Torrance becomes winter caretaker at the isolated Overlook Hotel in Colorado, hoping to cure his writer's block. He settles in along with his wife Wendy and his son Danny, who is plagued by psychic premonitions. As Jack's writing goes nowhere and Danny's visions become more disturbing, Jack discovers the hotel's dark secrets and begins to unravel into a homicidal maniac hell-bent on terrorizing his own family. Starring Jack Nicholson, Shelley Duvall, Danny Lloyd, and directed by Stanley Kubrick. Critics say, though it deviates from Stephen King's novel, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining is a chilling, often baroque journey into madness, exemplified by an unforgettable turn from Jack Nicholson. Number 6, Reanimator. A medical student brings his headless professor back from the dead with a special serum. Starring Jeffrey Combs, Bruce Abbott, Barbara Crampton, and directed by Stuart Gordon. Critics say perfectly mixing humor and horror, the only thing more effective than Reanimator's gory scares are its dry, deadpan jokes.
Get out of here! Get it off of me! The hell is it? Later! Later! There it goes, under the stairs. It's under the stairs. Okay, I got it. Okay.
Number 5, The Fly. When scientist Seth Brundle completes his teleportation device, he decides to test its abilities on himself. Now, unbeknownst to him, a housefly slips in during the process, leading to a merger of man and insect. Initially, Brundle appears to have undergone a successful teleportation, but the fly cells begin to take over his body. As he becomes increasingly fly-like, Brundle's girlfriend is horrified, I mean, I would be too, as the person she once loved deteriorates into a monster. Starring Jeff Goldblum, Gina Davis, John Getz, and directed by David Cronenberg. Critics say David Cronenberg combines his trademark affinity for gore and horror with strongly developed characters, making The Fly a surprisingly affecting tragedy.
You're changing, Seth. Everything about you is changing. You look bad. You smell bad.
I've never been much of a bather.
Those weird hairs that were growing out of your back, I took them to a lab. I had them analyzed.
The hairs? The hairs? Oh. Yeah, that's a strange thing to do.
Not as strange as the results. The guy at the lab had trouble identifying them. He finally came to the conclusion that they were definitely not human.
Oh. Very good.
Not human, Seth. In fact, very likely insect hairs.
That's silly. That's ridiculous.
Look. Now there's more. Look at your face. Something happened when you went through, Seth. You've got to get some help. I think you must be sick.
You're jealous! I've become free. I've been released, and you can't stand it. You'll do anything to bring me down. Look at me. Does this look sick? Does this look like a sick man to you?
No! Stop it!
You know any sick men who can do that? Come here.
Help! Seth!
Wheels off! I don't need you anymore.
No, wait!
Number 4, Evil Dead 2. The second of 3 films in the Evil Dead series is part horror, part comedy, with Ash Williams once again battling horrifying demons at a secluded cabin in the woods. After discovering an audio tape left by a college professor that contains voices reading from the Book of the Dead, Ash's girlfriend Linda becomes possessed by evil spirits that are awakened by the voices on the tape. Now, Ash soon discovers there is no escaping the woods. Starring Bruce Campbell, Sarah Berry, Dan Hicks, and directed by Sam Raimi. Critics say Evil Dead 2's increased special effects and slapstick gore makes it as good, if not better, than the original.
You bastards! You dirty bastard! Give me back my head! Give me back my head!
Number 3, A Nightmare on Elm Street. In Wes Craven's classic slasher film, several Midwestern teenagers fall prey to Freddy Krueger, a disfigured midnight mangler who preys on the teenagers in their dreams, which in turn kills them in reality. After investigating the phenomenon, Nancy begins to suspect that a dark secret kept by her and her friend's parents may be the key to unraveling the mystery, but can Nancy and her boyfriend Glenn solve the puzzle before it's too late? Starring Robert Englund, Heather Langenkamp, John Saxton, and directed by Wes Craven. Craven. Critics say Wes Craven's intelligent premise, combined with the horrifying visual appearance of Freddy Krueger, still causes nightmares to this day in A Nightmare on Elm Street. Number 2, The Evil Dead. Ashley Ash Williams, his girlfriend, and 3 pals hike into the woods to a cabin for a fun night away. There, they find an old book, the Necronomicon, whose text reawakens the dead when it's read aloud. The friends inadvertently release a flood of evil and must fight for their lives or become one of the evil dead to save his own life in this, the first of Sam Raimi's trilogy. Starring Bruce Campbell, Ellen Sandweiss, Betsy Baker, and directed by Sam Raimi. Critics say this classic low-budget horror film combines just the right amount of gore and black humor, giving the Evil Dead an equal amount of thrills and laughs.
It's a 7.
What suit?
Diamonds. No, wait, hearts.
Oh my God, 7 of hearts, you're right.
Hey, Ash, I guessed the card right.
Yeah, truly amazing, Linda.
I don't know, but I think it's really some sort of extra sense or something, you know, like ESP.
Okay, try this.
Okay, it's a 7.
I don't believe it.
Of spades. Queen of spades. 4 of hearts. 8 of spades. 2 of spades. Jack of diamonds. Jack of clubs.
Why have you disturbed our sleep? Awakened us from our ancient slumber. You will die like the others before you. One by one we will take you.
And before we reveal number 1, here are some honorable mentions. The Thing. In remote Antarctica, a group of American research scientists are disturbed at their base camp by a helicopter shooting at a sled dog. Now, when they take in the dog, it brutally attacks both human beings and canines in the camp, and they discover that the beast can assume the shape of its victims. A resourceful helicopter pilot and the camp doctor lead the camp crew in a desperate, gory battle against the vicious creature before it picks them all off one by one. Starring Kurt Russell, Wilford Brimley, T.K. Carter, and directed by John Carpenter. Critics say grimmer and more terrifying than the 1950s take, John Carpenter's The Thing is a tense sci-fi thriller rife with compelling tension and some remarkable makeup effects. Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. After Barbara and Adam Maitland die in a car accident, they find themselves stuck haunting their country residence, unable to leave the house. When the unbearable Dietzes and teen daughter Lydia buy the home, the Maitlands attempt to scare them away without success. Their efforts attract Beetlejuice, a rambunctious spirit whose help quickly becomes dangerous for the Maitlands and innocent Lydia. Starring Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, Alec Baldwin, and directed by Tim Burton. Critics say, brilliantly bizarre and overflowing with ideas, Beetlejuice offers some of Michael Keaton's most deliciously manic work and creepy, funny fun for the whole family.
No, we just want to get some people out of our house.
I understand. Well, look, in order to do that, I'm really gonna have to get to know you guys. You know, we gotta get closer, move in with you for a while, get to be real pals. You know what I'm saying? Save that guy for later. Huh?
My wife and I would like to ask you a couple of questions.
Sure. Go ahead, shoot.
Well, for instance, what are your qualifications?
Well, I attended Juilliard. I'm a graduate of the Harvard Business School. I travel quite extensively. I lived through the Black Plague, and I had a pretty good time during that. I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a dead guy. Now, what do you think? You think I'm qualified?
What I mean is, can you be scary?
Oh, I know you're asking me. Can I be scary? What do you think of this? You like it?
Poltergeist. Strange and creepy happenings beset an average California family, the Freelings. Steve, Diane, teenage Dana, 8-year-old Robbie, and 5-year-old Carol Ann, when ghosts commune with them through the television set. Initially friendly and playful, the spirits turn unexpectedly menacing. And when Carol Ann goes missing, Steve and Diane turn to a parapsychologist and eventually an exorcist for help. Starring Craig T. Nelson, Jobeth Williams, Beatrice Straight, and directed by Tobe Hooper. Critics say smartly filmed, tightly scripted, and most importantly, consistently frightening, Poltergeist is a modern horror classic.
Did you do this? You guys. I asked you not to pull the chair. TV people. Uh-huh. Do you see them?
And finally, number 1, Aliens. After floating in space for 57 years, Lieutenant Ripley's shuttle is found by a deep space salvage team. Upon arriving at LV-426, the Marines find only one survivor, a 9-year-old girl named Newt. But even these battle-hardened Marines with all the latest weaponry are no match for the hundreds of aliens that have invaded the colony. Starring Sigourney Weaver, Carrie Henn, Michael Biehn, and directed by James Cameron. Critics say, while Alien was a marvel of slow-building atmospheric tension, Aliens packs a much more visceral punch and features a typically strong performance from Sigourney Weaver.
Movement! What's the position? Can't lock in. Talk to me, Hudson! Multiple signals. They're closing. Go to infrared, people. Look sharp.
What's happening, Apone? Can't see anything in here.
Pull your team out, Gorman.
I got signals. I got readings in front and behind. Where, man? I don't see shit.
He's right. There's nothing back here.
Well, my friends, that about does it for us. Be sure to stay tuned to the Rotten Tomatoes channel for more of the entertainment content you love. Until next time, I am your host, Naz Perez, and we will see you back here for more Top 10s on the Rotten Tomatoes Countdown.